Shapiro is here to tell. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Victoria Gaither. Hurricane Isabel is gone, but cleanup efforts continue up and down the East Coast. ABC's Jeff Kaufman shows us how people in North Carolina are starting to rebuild their lives. Well, in Chrisville, business owners and homeowners alike spent the day cleaning up and drying out from the storm. WMDT's Ty Milburn explains. Ty also tells us about 700 people from Chrisville and Somerset County stayed in shelters to escape the high winds. Deal Island was one of the places hardest hit by flooding on the eastern shore. The road leading into the island was flooded for miles. One eyewitness says many people are still without power, plus water levels are high. Another woman we spoke to says damage could have been far worse. Dozens of people from Smith and Tangier Island wasted no time going back home today. The islands off Chrisville face widespread power outages and heavy flooding. Residents were happy to get back home and to begin the cleanup process. Officials expect most of the residents from Smith and Tangier Island will return by this weekend. Farmers across Maryland are faring well after Isabel. The storm-driven winds and rains were lighter than forecasters across most of the state, leaving less to clean up and more to harvest. A farmer outside of Annapolis says his corn and soybeans are still standing, but in Worcester County along Maryland, 12 corn stalks were snapped in half. The Blackwater Refuge and tributaries of the Choptank River are overflowing into towns in southern Dorchester County. And WMDT's Carolyn Suma was there and tells us how hard those areas were hit. And Carolyn also tells us emergency operations of Dorchester says they will put their best effort forward and the town will pull through it. Well, if you're a Connective customer and still without power, you are not alone. Connective officials are reporting that Hurricane Isabel knocked out power for almost a third of their million customers in Delmarva and Lower New Jersey. Technicians were able to restore power to about 150,000 customers, but still 150,000 more remain in the dark. Now, they're optimistic that everyone will have power by early next week, but warn that people in isolated areas or people in areas where there are few outages will be serviced last. Now, you can call Connective at the telephone number there on your screen if you have any more questions. That number is 1-800-898-8045. And Choptank Electric has just called to tell us that they still have about 1,600 people without power on Delmarva. They say that they hope to be able to get everybody up and running by tomorrow. Well, still to come tonight, we'll look at how businesses are jacking up prices by adding fees and service charges to their services. And we'll show you where you can get some dry ice. Executive order today creating the Delaware Homeland Security Council. Minner says she